And salutations, everyone. Welcome to the first ever episode of the Back of the Pack podcast. I am your host, Kyle Walker, and we're here through OKKC Sports. I am so excited to be here and to do this show. It really is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I am so excited to talk about running and the running community, especially the running community as it relates to Kansas City and even beyond. We will talk about runs in other places as well, some of the big runs and just some of the smaller runs all over the world. But this is a podcast for those of us, and yes, I say us, and I specifically mean me, that are not elite. We are never going to be the people on the podium. We're never going to be the people who have the medal placed around their neck by the mayor of a city and receive winners' funds for winning a race. We're not the people who are running sub 4-minute miles. We're not the people running 15-minute 5Ks. Nope, that is not who we are. We are the weekend warriors. We are the people who are out there pounding the pavement for whatever our reasons might be. Maybe it's health. Maybe it's stress relief. Maybe it's just something you do with friends and you've got your little running group. But we're the people who sign up for the races really based on if the shirt is cool and the bling is awesome. We are medal chasers. If you will pardon my French, and I speak for myself, we are medal whores, because that's what I am. And that is who this show is for. It is for all of us who want the participation medal, who want to run those 3 miles on a Saturday morning because we really have nothing else to do, I guess. But that's who I want to enjoy this show. And so this is just kind of our get to know you episode. This is kind of who we are, what we're about, and who the heck am I? Like I said, my name is Kyle Walker. I have been running now for about 12 years. Well, let's say 11 and a half. I took up running in 2010 as a form of divorce stress. I was working with a guy at a bank, and he's a big avid runner. And I was just kind of going through the divorce and bouncing off the walls and probably channeling my anger and hurt into bad places. And he's like, hey, man, why don't you try running? Now, at that point, right after my divorce, I was pretty close to 300 pounds. And the only running I did was probably to the kitchen when dinner was ready. And so running had never really crossed my mind as something to do. It was something I had tried previously for about maybe 5 minutes when I thought, oh, I should probably lose a couple pounds. But I was never anything serious. I never had done a race. I didn't even know that they did organized races in this area. And so I started training in October of 2010. I just would go out and I would lace up my shoes. I didn't know what in the world I was doing. And I'd run to the top of the street and then I'd hang a right. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to run to the next intersection. Then I ran to the next intersection. Okay, I'm going to walk from this intersection down to that lamp post. Okay, so I'd walk to the lamppost. Okay, now I'm going to run to the next intersection. And that's how I started. It was just little steps to try and channel all this pent up anger and frustration that I had that eventually led to me becoming a runner. And we're going to talk about the differentiation between jogger and runner another time. But yes, I became a runner. I would go from lamppost to intersection to lamppost. And then gradually, as I kept going, I'd get a little longer. And I'd get a little longer. And then I made it all the way from where I was staying down to the main street that was my turnaround. And so that was 1.5 miles away. So I made a whole 1.5 miles running the entire time. Well, then I would turn around. Okay, I'm going to go from the turnaround to the McDonald's, not to go in the McDonald's, although that sounds really good right now. And so I would just continue to build on it. And so starting in October, I signed up for my first 5K in December. And I did it with my buddy. And I did it with a couple other friends. And I remember going into the starting chute and oh my goodness, I was so scared. I was petrified. Like, what am I doing? I don't deserve to be out here. I shouldn't be out here with all these people. They fired the starting gun. Away I went. And you know what? I found that the running community is something that we all can belong to. It's a place where everyone is accepted, of all skill levels, of all shapes and sizes, of all ethnic backgrounds, whatever you want to call it. The running community will embrace you no matter really who you are. And so I was hooked. From that 5K on, I was hooked. And of course, I escalated ridiculously fast, as a lot of us runners will do. Started with the 5K in December. By April, I ran my first half marathon. Yeah, that was a big time escalation. And so I've been doing it ever since. Just to maybe give you a little bit about me, and I'm not trying to make this a whole me show, but you kind of want to know who it is you're listening to, assuming you're still listening, and I hope that you are. Here's what I've done in my running career. I've got it on a spreadsheet. I keep it. I have done 98 5Ks. Okay, 98. But don't worry. Like I said, I'm not an elite runner. My friends call me the tractor. I go far, not fast. My average time over those 98 is 42 minutes and 29 seconds. My best time is 31 minutes. And then I've had some that have been an hour, but that's like the fun stuff, the Warrior Dash, the Color Run, Glow Run, the stuff where you're messing around anyway. So 42:29, that's my average over 98 5Ks. 10Ks, I've done 28 of those. I actually really like 10Ks. But my average there is only an hour and 24 minutes. Again, nothing staggering. Half marathons, I've done 40. We don't need to worry about my averages going forward, but half marathons, I've done 40. In full marathons, I've done 8. And so honestly, I enjoy running. I enjoy the experience of race day, like I'm sure a lot of you all do too. And so what we're going to try and do on this podcast is we're going to talk about these things. We're going to talk about the races I'm going to be at. I hope you'll find me there. We're going to talk about upcoming races. We're going to talk about the race that maybe I just run. Let's see what we think about it. Do we like it as a community? We're going to talk about what's going on in the world of running, tips and tricks, and anything that I can give you that will help enhance your running experience. So that is what we're here for. We're building up all of our online statuses, or presence, I should say, our presence. So you can find us at Back of the Pack Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. I know those are up and going. The website, of course, is where I would love everyone to go, backofthepackpodcast.com. That is up and running. It is an offshoot of OKKC Sports, where we have a lot of other stuff going on. We've got a Chiefs page, Royals page, soccer, and then the Back of the Pack podcast. So that's what's going to be going on. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is the race that I just completed yesterday. If you are following us on social media, then you will have seen some of the pictures I took. This was my 5th running of the Westport St. Patrick's Day 4-miler. So it's a 4-mile race. I've done 15 4-milers, not a bad distance, but it is a little bit of a mental game. When you're so used to running 5Ks, that little difference between 3.12 and 4 miles, that can really get you if you're not careful. But yesterday, it was held on March 12th, 2022. Yeah, that's the year we're in. And I'll be honest, this is probably the coldest it's ever been for that race. My car was reading at 17 degrees when I headed out to get myself to the start line. So it was a cold race. The attendance, of course, is down. Attendance is down at all races right now. Like, running is just not as big as it was maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Hopefully this podcast can help change that. I would like to help re-energize the running community in this area. We're going to talk about in later episodes why I think we're down, but you could definitely tell that we're down right now. This race used to hold definitely over 1,000 people, if not more, way back in the day. I looked yesterday, there were 589 finishers. That's not a bad race, but certainly not what this race used to be. It's held in Westport, which is in Kansas City, Missouri. That's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of the hub around St. Patrick's Day in this area. They have a St. Patrick's Day parade. There's certainly some Irish bars down there. Kelly's Westport Inn is my favorite. Westport used to be kind of the real trendy place to go if you wanted to go out drinking. It's a different area in town now. Now I'd say it's Power and Light, but that's fine. All the people can go to Power and Light. I can still go to Westport and enjoy an adult beverage. But it's held at historic downtown Westport, so right at the intersection of Westport Road and Pennsylvania. Yeah, it's a fun race. Thankfully, I know they were looking for course monitors and they were looking for volunteers. It appeared to me as though they found everything that they needed, because I had no problems. There was at no point where the runners weren't safe or traffic was just kind of left willy-nilly to do what they pleased. The aid station was well stocked, no problem getting waters and whatnot. So really, I had a good experience. I normally do. Due to it being so cold, there was not a lot of after race activities. But if you so desire, you can check out all the pictures that I took, again, at all the social media places that we mentioned. And of course, on the website, which is backofthepackpodcast.com. And I'm going to recite that a lot because we want people to go there, because we want this show to do well, because I enjoy talking about it. Hopefully you can hear my enthusiasm. So what we have coming up next, I don't have any races that I'm doing next weekend, although there's a few in the area. You know, we're starting to get into our running season. This was my first race of 2022. There were some ones in January that I didn't do. I had a little medical procedure in February, so that kind of put me on the shelf for a while. But now March and going into April, things are really going to start ramping up. So my next race, the next race that the Back of the Pack podcast is going to be at is going to be the Liberty Hospital Half Marathon. Yes, with pretty much nil training, I'm going to go and do a half marathon. And the Liberty Hospital Half Marathon, it is difficult. Like, I put it as one of my top 5 most difficult half marathons in this area. And again, in this area, I haven't run a lot of half marathons outside of the area. Actually, I've run none. But in this area, it's definitely one of the top 5 most difficult. It is a very hilly course. But what I like about runs in Liberty, Missouri is not a small town, but it certainly kind of has a small town feel. Small town feel places, they all seem to come out for that race. Like, there's going to be maybe not a lot of support, although there's some, but there's going to be a lot of volunteers, a lot of course monitors, a lot of people to make sure that race morning goes the way that race morning should. And I always have a great appreciation when it does that, because I've been to races where that was not the case, and race morning definitely did not go the way race morning should have. Sometime I'll talk about the 5K where they didn't put up signs and people were getting lost all over town. That was fun. So that's the next one. And I know that we're just getting started on this podcast. Not many people are going to hear this before that race. But what we're going to start doing, I'm going to start bringing a show t-shirt to the races once we get some made. And if you come up to me, and I'll be easily recognizable because I'll be wearing a show t-shirt. If you come up to me and say, hey, love your show, or love Back of the Pack podcast, or hey, Kyle, how you doing? I'm going to give you a t-shirt. And we're going to start doing that at a lot of the races that I get to. And even if I don't have one ready by the Liberty Hospital Half Marathon, let me get your information and I will make sure you get a show t-shirt, because we're runners. We love the t-shirts. We love the swag bags. We love all that stuff. And I know you do, so don't pretend like you don't. So I'm going to give you a show t-shirt once we start getting them made and having them out. And then all you have to do is come up and say you're a fan of the show. Boom, free t-shirt. Doesn't get any better than that. So again, March 27th, that is the Liberty Hospital Half Marathon. I hope to see you all out there. After the race, I will have a after action report like I did for the Westport St. Patrick's Day 4-miler. You can find that on the website and go read my thoughts on the race that I typed up right after running it. I'll have another one of those, and then we're going to record another podcast afterwards. I'm going to try and do these podcasts on Sundays, after race weekend. And then, of course, the next day on Monday, make sure you tune in to our Instagram and our Facebook, because we're going to have Medal Monday. Why wouldn't we have a Medal Monday? I'm going to share whatever medal I get that weekend. And if you did that race or a different race, share yours as well. I love seeing everyone with their race medals. I love seeing what races are doing for race medals. I want to see your bling. So on Medal Monday, please feel free to join us and post your picture of you and your medal. Then tell us about the race that you ran. Do you like it? Did you not like it? And let's really try and come together as a running community under one banner, hopefully, of this podcast, and kind of get things re-energized in the area. Okay, that's going to be the plan. So we do want to talk about things outside of the Kansas City area. And so I feel I should definitely mention right now, at the moment of this recording, we are in the window. If you have any aspirations to run the New York Marathon, which runs in November, now is your time to get your name in the lottery. The lottery has been open for a while, and it ends on March 23rd. So make sure that you've got your ballot in, that you're in their lottery before March 23rd. So I just ran New York back in November of 2021. It is a hell of a race. Like, it was quite the experience to run through New York City for a full marathon. The crowd support, I heard this year the crowd support was down, but I still thought it was one of the best supported races ever. You run through all the boroughs, you go through the Bronx and Queens and Manhattan, and certainly some other areas that are eluding me right now, but it is an amazing experience. So if you have any aspirations to run the New York Marathon, make sure you get your name submitted on their website before March 23rd. If you are lucky enough to get in, and you have a better chance, they've got the field back to the full 55,000 that it previously was. Last year it was slimmed down due to the coronavirus nonsense, but now it's back to full strength. You've got a great chance of getting in. So please fill out your ballot and get yourself signed up to get into the New York City Marathon, running, I believe, on November 9th, 2022. But the ballot closes. Your window closes on March 23rd. Make sure you enter. You won't regret it. That's what we're going to do here for the first episode of the Back of the Pack podcast. I know I've thrown a lot at you, but we're just getting this thing rolling. Wanted you to know a little bit about the show, a little bit about me, a little bit about what we want to be. And I hope you are as excited as I am. So kudos to everyone at the Westport St. Patrick's Day 4-miler. I had a wonderful race experience, and sometimes that's all you can ask for. Maybe next year when we do this, you can turn the temperature up a little bit, just a little bit. Put it in the 40s or 50s. 50 sounds great. But the 17 degrees was a little too cold, although I don't blame you for that. So that's going to do it for this first episode of the Back of the Pack podcast. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, do everything to help spread the word of this show if you enjoyed it, because I'm going to have a lot of fun bringing it to you, and I really hope you have a lot of fun listening to it. We love feedback. We love to hear what you think. If there's something you want us to cover, I'm happy to cover it. If there's a race you want me to preview or review or go do because maybe it supports a charity that you like, let me know. If I'm not busy that weekend, if I don't already have a race scheduled, I will go, and then I will gladly give credit to the people who organize the race, whatever the charity is, whatever the running group is, whatever. We are beholden to no one. So KC Running Company, KC Track Club, KC whatever, all of them, like I can talk about any race I want because that's just what I can do. So if there's something you want covered, let me know. Other than that, everyone, hey, have a great week. Let's get out there and start training. We've got wonderful weather coming up. Go out there, pound some pavement, lace up those sneakers. The most difficult first step is the one out the door. So we will see you next time, everybody. Take care.